stimulus checks. We're getting flooded with calls from people who say their money was deposited in the wrong place.
Yeah, that is a huge concern. The number one concern I'm seeing involving stimulus payments. And so we've been tackling this a lot over the last 24 hours. Dozens of people have been emailing or messaging me about this topic. They all say they use tax prep services to do their taxes, and they're very worried the IRS is confused where to send their money. Paul Cavallari's a mechanic. His fiance, Tammy Oates, a hairstylist.
It's tough. We're paycheck to paycheck.
Penny pension. Every chance
we're blue collar, and it's tough.
They did what many do. They used a tax prep service. In their case, Jackson Hewitt. Jackson Hewitt gave them part of their refunds up front, which is common. The company works with a bank that pays that tab. Then the IRS sent their real refunds to the bank. Here's the problem. Paul and Tammy are afraid the IRS associates their returns with that bank, not theirs, and will send their stimulus money there instead. They don't know if that's what will happen or if it already has, but Letitia Smalls says it is already happening elsewhere.
It's definitely a mess because
she works for a much smaller company, Rtdnac Financial. She says her bank sent her this message confirming it's getting stimulus money meant for her customers and that the bank's sending it back to the IRS to sort out.
Some people need milk, Pampers, don't have no money or no job, but now the stimulus is going to take longer because by the time they send it back to IRS, how long is it going to take for IRS to update it or mail it? And do they have the right address? Do you have the right phone numbers?
She says tax preparers are trying to figure it out too, like Paul and Tammy.
Somebody has to care about the people, us, who are ones that need it the most. We're blue collar and don't earn a lot of money, and both are furlonged. And where do you go? Who do you ask for help?
Yeah, so here's what I'm doing. I'm asking the big tax prep services like H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt how they're handling this. Basically, I want to know if they end up with people's stimulus money, or more accurately, if their banks end up with that money, whether they're taking it upon themselves to pass that along to the taxpayers, or whether they're sending that money back to the IRS to sort it out. At this point, though, I don't have very clear answers. Still working on the pieces coming together.
Yeah, Jason, it sounds like there's not much people can do right now except wait.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody kind of keeps telling me behind the scenes that they really think it'll all work out. Everyone will get their money, but the big question, of course, is how long will that take? Some folks may have already gotten their money by this point, but now are they going to have to wait days or weeks? It's really miserable for a lot of them.
You've been reaching out to us asking for help finding your stimulus money.
We've already heard from dozens of you, and we're not done searching for solutions. We know this money comes at a critical time, a lifeline for families just trying to survive. And you'll see what we mean when you see this new number out today. The number of people employed in North Carolina dropped by 180,000 last month. We're talking about thousands of families suddenly finding themselves without an income.
But getting these much-needed stimulus checks has been anything but easy for a lot of people. Action 9 investigator Jason Stu-Janke has been going through each and every one of your pleas for help, so many. And Jason, how many people have reached out to you about this?
Oh, dozens, Allison, and the number keeps growing. I'll tell you, this is the #1 stimulus issue people have been contacting me about, and I've been tackling this since about Wednesday when people started emailing and messaging me. It's taken some time to piece this all together. I had some answers yesterday. Today, I have a lot more answers. Stephanie Greer is like a lot of people. She used a tax prep service. In her case, Centra Tax. Centra gave Greer her refund up front. The IRS gave Centra's bank her actual refund and associated that bank with her. So Greer says the IRS sent her stimulus money there too.
I was mad.
Centra uses MetaBank. MetaBank confirms the IRS did send it people's stimulus money. It says it's sending the money back to the IRS to distribute directly to consumers.
Everybody's walking around here, oh, I got my stimulus, and I have nothing.
Well, where's my money going at?
Some tax preparers like Letitia Smalls use another bank, a division of MetaBank called EPS. She showed me this. EPS says it's also returning the money to the IRS.
I need the people to understand we do not have your money. Tax preparers are not stealing taxpayers' money. They went to the bank and we're trying to figure out, we know just as much as they do.
A lot of tax preparers like Kanisha Ingram use Republic Bank. She showed me this. Republic says it's sending money to people directly, printing and mailing these checks at our own expense to avoid further delays. You guys have been caught in the middle.
Yes. No, we're on the forefront. Not we're in the
You're at
middle
the forefront.
because they have those lines of communication with the Internal Revenue Service. So we're on the forefront.
I'm like a lot of other people confused, like where's my money? When are we gonna get it?
Now, on top of all of this, I've been asking the big tax prep companies what they're doing, how they're handling it. If they see your money, are they going to pass it along to you, or are they sending it back to the IRS to sort out? H&R Block got back to me. It said if your account's open, it will get the money to you. If your account's closed, it will send it back to the IRS. I'm still waiting to hear back from Jackson Hewitt, but overall, the big message, Phil, I seem to be getting from everyone is eventually you'll get your money, but who knows how long it's going to take.
And Jason, speaking of that timing, you were telling me there are some other reasons people may not have gotten their stimulus money yet?
Yeah, 3 big ones totally unrelated to this. Number 1, if you didn't file a tax return in recent years. Number 2, if you filed a tax return but didn't get a refund, that could mess with your direct deposit. And third, if you changed banks recently, again, that could slow down the process.
Right here it says April 24th.
Adriana Chavez used a tax preparer, which used the bank EPS. She says the IRS sent EPS her stimulus money, and EPS sent it or is sending it back to the IRS to sort out. So Chavez went on the IRS website.
And I seen that it's updated to go back into that same bank account on the 24th, which is Friday.
Back to the wrong account, back to EPS.
The wrong account, yep.
It's not working and people are angry. Money is not going to them.
Letitia Smalls is a tax preparer. She says many of her customers saw the same thing. Friday, same bank account.
People are angry. Last week I told you I had people threatening me, ready to kick down our office door. We don't have your money and the IRS is not giving us the answer.
A lot of tax preparers use EPS's parent company, MetaBank. MetaBank sent another tax preparer I know this email, basically saying it certainly looks like the IRS is sending money back to the same accounts. Maybe the IRS site is just wrong, but who knows? The bank cannot be sure.
I'm angry. I mean, they promised us this. We're out of work. I mean, we still have bills to pay. We still have children to feed. I mean, this is their issue, not ours. We have no control over it.
For a while there, it was looking like the IRS was going to send people stimulus money to the wrong bank twice. Not anymore. People like Teresa Deal, who used taxpayers and got refund advances, were worried.
I just didn't know what to think.
In many cases, the IRS sent their money to the banks the tax preparers used for those advances instead of the people themselves.
And it just panics you to know that money's out there floating around somewhere. Are you going to get it? When are you going to get it?
Some of those banks returned the money to the IRS. The IRS website said it planned to resend the money this Friday, but right back to the same banks.
I could not believe that whoever's running that hen house up there could not connect the dots.
Many people called their tax preparers for answers. Tax preparers like Kevin Burton, who I know firsthand, has been working after hours trying to get them answers.
I'm giving them the information that we're getting from the IRS, but that
keeps changing.
information tends to change, exactly.
Well, I found out the IRS is sorting it out. One of the banks sent tax preparers this message saying the IRS made an error, corrected it, and does not intend to send payments back to the same accounts where those payments were returned.
I am relieved a little bit to know it's not going to be ping-pong back and forth. I'm relieved to know that, but now it's just a matter of wait and see. Is it going to show up in the mail? At this point, I don't have a lot of trust.
The bank says the IRS will mail people checks instead based on the most recent address it has on file. So I'm just asking when and what happens if the IRS has the wrong address.